can't weary. No, 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 Jah no. You can't stop the flow, just let the children go. Want every youth put on their thinking cap. No more time to laugh, keep learning the fact. The poor and the man has been brainwashed, adhering to a heart. The leaders them chat, just like that, them falling at the trap. But you see I and I own cheddar.
International Monetary Fund has recommended that countries like Grenada establish that linkage. Now, if you look at government policies, I'm not talking about the NDC policy. I'm talking about government policy over the past 15, 20 years. You will see that the policy basically is constructed in such a way to defeat the Grenadian farmer, big farmers as well as micro farmers. So let me explain to you what I mean.
Just before you go on, we are the telephone number is 410 30 30, and we hope that if anybody didn't hear us clearly, please respond. So let's take a break. Let's take a slight break because we seem to have some technical challenges and we apologize for it. Stay with us. We're back with you in 1 minute time.
Say whoa, 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 whoa. Say whoa, 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 whoa. Ready now, me ready now. A time to share, a time to care, a time to happy. But the whole year just went and you forgot it. Too much disguising on your love. I know I come tell the eye about Merry Christmas. Lord, you need to give a little. You get your riddle. You need to show the people something more. Don't make the heart shiver when fear is driven and end up losing it. But I'ma make it. Yeah. Youth's born for greatness. Yeah. For you see, I own cheddar with one amount of hard labor. You know, see, I own cheddar with one amount of hard labor. So till Santa him can stop ghetto youth from one. Oh, you are big dreams that we are. Oh, oh. And living this life I know. No, that you, yeah, and me really can't easy. No, can't weary. No, 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 Jah, no. You can't stop the flow, just let the children go. Want every youth put on their thinking cap. No more time to laugh. Keep learning the fact. The poor and the man has been brainwashed. Adhering to a heart. The leaders them chat. Just like that, them falling at the trap. But you see, I own cheddar with one amount of hard labor. You know, see, I own cheddar with one amount of hard labor. So devil Santa him can stop ghetto youths from one. Oh, you know, big dreams that we are. Oh, but I'ma make it. Yeah. Youths born for greatness. Yeah. So you see, I own cheddar with one amount of hard labor. You know, see, I own cheddar with one amount of hard labor. So till Santa.
Yes, we on Studio Galaxy 473. It seems that we had a false start or humblest apology. A new kid on the block and we are challenging with the technology. But the topic this morning is investment with micro farmers. And we have with us our brother Joshua Luis. And the number to call is 410 3030. 410 3030. It's an interactive program and we take calls. So you could give us a call. Investment with micro farmers. We believe that the future for micro farmers is doomed. Irrespective of all this talk about expanding hotels and tying it up with agriculture, we believe the future is doomed. We also believe that the financial institution and the banks is against the farmer. We're putting it straightforward. Is against the farmer. Even our GDB bank, our penny bank, the financial institution is against the small and micro farmers. But we must survive. So we must discuss investment with micro farmers. And we have our brother with us, Joshua Lees.
Good morning to everybody, both at home and in the diaspora. We're engaging on a very important subject this morning, micro farmers and food and the hotels, the wider economy, national transformation. But I believe that we have an opportunity to really discuss and find solutions to this recurring problem, because this problem has not just occurred overnight. It's been happening for over 50 years or so since independence. It's been happening. It's almost as though we've gotten to the point whereby we have an autoimmune disease. That's when the body itself is fighting against itself. So the body is actually killing itself. Now, we must first recognize what is going on in terms of agriculture and farming. We had a 6% contraction in farming in terms of our GDP. And I've not even had a whisper come out from Ministry of Agriculture, from the Minister of Agriculture, from the opposition leader, or from anybody. It's like agriculture is not important. Nobody seems to care about agriculture. And like I said, it seems like we have an autoimmune disease in agriculture.
Joshua, AAID, agricultural autoimmune disease.
Yes.
AAID.
Yeah.
Some might say AAID or AAID. We have an autoimmune disease facing the agriculture industry.
Yeah, and I'll tell you how this autoimmune disease is made up. I'll give you one example in terms of killing the micro farmers, killing farmers in general. So we have a situation in Grenada where the International Monetary Fund, and I was involved in the IMF programs, I think in 2013, or when the first one was, not the first one, but and one of the recommendations coming out of that program was that we link tourism, we'll link agriculture with tourism. The person who was heading the mission at the time actually did her thesis in terms of agriculture and tourism, and she was convinced that that's where the money was for the wider rural economy, linking agriculture with tourism. Now we have a situation in Grenada, and I suspect many other islands, whereby we use our CBI programs to invest, to attract investors. So essentially, the investors nowadays bring little to no money into the program. They sell our passports, or they use our programs, and they attract the money, they attract the investors. And, you would build a hotel. Those people tend to be very experienced people in terms of this program. They've been operating it for many years. And then what would happen, they would ask for maximum concessions and more. Sometimes they even get infrastructural assistance with the government building the roads for them. So, we have millions and millions of dollars being given to the foreign direct investor. So much so that when you go to link agriculture in terms of farming to tourism, quite often the hotelier will tell you, why would I be buying local produce when I could bring in the produce because of the concessions I get 40% cheaper? So our policies are actually killing us. That's why I say we have an autoimmune disease. We're killing ourselves by the policy that we are propagating. I mean, I've heard talk recently, and and it's been, worrying to me because I think it's very real. And I think the article that I was reading was a report from the Prime Minister, who was saying sooner or later we have to decide, who will get the water, the schools or the hotels? These are serious problems that everybody have to kind of be part of the solution. Now, the hotels benefit the most in terms, and they use so much of the water, and they need to use it. But how do we balance it so all of us can have a stake in terms of those things? How can we balance our policies so that Grenadians can actually benefit from Grenadian policies? At the moment, it seems, and I say it seems because haven't really done the analytical searches and data for this, but it seems to me in terms of policy implementation that the policy is not designed really to help Grenadians. It's designed to help foreign direct investors. And now I've seen that kind of approach in many other kind of sectors where we've just continued what has always been without kind of, taking it apart and reconfiguring it and making it benefit Grenadians. And I think we have a real opportunity here to re-look at things, re-look at our policies, re-look at our systems, and fix it so that Grenadians can benefit more widely from this. I mean, I hear a lot of people always saying to me, "Oh, Josh, how you get employment?" Have you ever seen a hotel being run without staff? Where would the employment come from? You need the staff to make your money and your profits, and you could bring it to wherever. I guess a lot of people kind of used to use the Cayman and Bermuda. I know there's been a lot of crackdown on that, but this fallacy that we're going to create employment, I've never bought it. The fact that you're using Grenadians in the low-paying jobs just means rather than paying somebody from Europe, 50,000 a year, you could pay a Grenadian, 12,000 a year. So you even make more profit from our people. So, I really don't buy that argument. I think in order for our micro farmers to survive and to prosper and to contribute to the wider economy and contribute to the GDP, I think we have to relook at what we're doing and see the outcomes from what we're doing, because our society is based on the micro farmers, and I think they have to survive. There's no ifs or buts about it. The micro farmers have to survive. We're a society that not like hundreds of thousands of acres and big farms. Our farms essentially are 2 acres, 5 acres, some little 10 acres, and we might have about 20 or so big estates. And
Joshua, perhaps the time has come for us to tell the farmer what we believe is the truth. The present environment seems to be very bleak and hopeless for them. Hopeless in the sense that we have invested immensely in hotels and etc. But it doesn't seem that these people will help us. And we have to say help us now because we end up like beggars. After we invest money through the CBI program in foreign indirect investment, and we expect that our agriculture will increase, they are advancing the view that they could get the agriculture product for more than 40% less.
Yes, and that is an issue, a real terrible issue. When I was told that, and I was told that by one of the general managers of one of the big hotels, inside I broke down. I left the meeting. I went to that restaurant in Crowshoe. There's a nice new restaurant in Crowshoe, owned by Grenadians, and I basically sat down. I ordered a Scotch and ginger ale. I drank it, and I tried to console myself, but I was.
You didn't get a confusion rum. If you didn't get a confusion rum, you might have been. The hard reality, it is hard, but that information have always been out. That irrespective of what we do, irrespective of the pampering that we provide for foreign indirect investment, they could obtain the crops for more than 40% less than what we have.
Yeah.
So farmers have to face that harsh reality.
Yeah, but it was interesting. I had to think about 3 Scotch and ginger ale, and whilst I was drowned in my sorrow and feeling sorry for the country and feeling sorry for myself, who walked in? Our chief veterinary officer walked in, and he said to me, "What's wrong? What's going on?" I say, "I can't believe what I've been told today. I went to a meeting."
You refused to face the truth for a long while.
Yeah.
The writing was on the wall.
Yeah, I said I went to a meeting with one of the big hotelier, all optimistic. I was going to, get the linkage for farmers with agriculture to supply and, give farmers hope. And this is what I was told. How do I fight that? How do I fight that? And the person who told me, he really believed that somehow the farmers were trying to take advantage of him by selling him this goods 40% more expensive. And what I could see and what I knew and what would take so long to explain to this person is that the system has always been against, Caribbean farmers. And what I wanted to say to him is that we started off this country based on a supply economy, based on slavery, and then indentured labors. That really couldn't be sustained. We then went on the neo-colonial system whereby, all the important jobs were done by foreigners. That couldn't be sustained. After the Second World War, we then went on to what we have now, foreign direct investment, whereby the G7 countries was encouraged to buy all the assets of the developing country without any of the responsibility for their roads, their hospitals, their school, etc. So you take all the profit from these countries and you have no responsibility for the infrastructural national development. And if you criticize, you say, but we pay tax. Quite often these people don't pay tax for 15, 30 years,
But you see, one of the we always doing as if we're helpless in this thing. And that's why I have a difference. We had people negotiating on our behalf, or they claimed they were good negotiators.
Yeah.
In truth and in fact, they sat down in the negotiating room, but they did not negotiate on our behalf, and they did not tell us the truth.
Yeah,
The harsh, cold truth is
yeah.
we are in trouble.
We are, but I think we're also a title support society. Once people have title, whether it's like minister, PS, it's almost something happens that makes people believe that they've become the repository of knowledge, and what they say goes, and they're not interested in real knowledge and facts. We have a new set of ministers. We have a young prime minister who, in many ways, wants to be.
You always have to put a qualifier when you say young. You have to say politically young.
Politically
because
young.
we have had a lot of leaders in the Caribbean in the 20s.
Yeah.
And when you take a 40 plus, closer to 50 man, that do young.
That young, okay.
Young.
But when you compare it to the previous person who's closer to 80.
But he came 24. When he entered politics, he was 24.
All right.
And even at that time, he was not considered as a youth.
Yeah. I guess the point I really want to make is that we have a new, younger set of leaders, and quite rightly so.
Make no difference, even worse. in terms of autoimmune disease in agriculture, is even worse because they don't have a clue. They don't know the history. Mm-hmm. They don't understand the negotiation and what went on before, and they're helpless.
But I get the feeling that there's the will to do something based on what I've heard. Not heard, but based on what I read, because I tend to be more of a reader. It seems as though the passion, not the passion, but I feel a connection of wanting change, wanting things to be better, but it takes so long to get change when you've had hundreds of years of neglect, hundreds of years of oppression. It's not easy, but agriculture has to be given a higher priority in this, new regime.
That is where we say investment with micro farmers.
Yes.
Micro farmers cannot expect help from the financial institution. Joshua.
Mm-hmm. And I think we have to do that different. I think we have to have, in each parish now, we have some kind of micro institution to help the farmers in terms of, not all this kind of high level technical banking, but where a man could go out and look at a man plan for his farm and say, yes, that's sustainable. I think we have to do it different, because what we've been doing hasn't worked for the farmer. So why continue? I know sometimes you could fix systems, you could fix bankings and all the rest of it. But I think it's about time that we make access to funding simpler for the micro farmers.
You still have hope. We had the penny bank that moved to cooperative bank, and we had a GDB bank. Mm-hmm. What is the end result?
Yeah, they drifted towards more commercial.
They abandoned the farmer.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Well, they abandoned the farmer.
The farmers haven't benefited from them as they should have.
But that is a nice way to put it. I like that. That is nice language. The farmer have not benefited the way they could have. So what financial institution the farmers are?
I think we need to do simple things. Whether we in a village like Paraclete, where we both come from, we get something going whereby there is a small investment, maybe $200 each, and we lend it out at maybe 2-3%, and we pay a dividend on it at the end of the year, similar to the bank. But in terms of lending, we have like an extension officer and we have a business person. When I say an extension officer, what I mean is we have somebody who can give us a proper analysis whether or not the field that this farmer is planning to invest in will make profit. And we have somebody who comes from more of a business background. Just two people making the decisions, whether to lend or not whether the man have, a cattle or a car or a house or what we could kind of put a lien on and all of this kind of stuff. We start you financing for a crop at a time. And get that micro farmer supported, and you'd be amazed that will take off. I think they have similar systems in India. Where the women,
India and some African countries.
Yeah, the women's put together this kind of money and you use it. I think we have to be more innovative, more creative, and we have to kind of stop waiting for 3 years to do a policy kind of review before we get going.
We have to stop believing that help is on the way.
Yes,
help is not on the way.
Yes, we have to stop that.
And our leaders is not in a position to help us. They're helpless.
Yeah.
The harsh reality is they're helpless.
Yeah, because the psychology that we have been brought up on, in the Caribbean over the years is that, sooner or later, the white man will come on his horse and his cloak and his sword, and he will kill all our enemies and we'll be fine. So we have to get that kind of juvenile thinking out of our head. And you're right, it's not a bad thing to...
It makes us a little bit lazy too,
Yeah.
So we don't have to do it for ourselves.
Yeah.
Somebody could do it for us.
Yeah, the cloak and sword is coming to save us. But I think, we're a nation of 50 years old, I'm told, And...
You find we're looking at 24.
well, not even that. But we have to do something for the smaller micro farmers, and then we have to get systems going, and we have to have leaders who step up in the community. Yes, we're trying to raise awareness here, but we need more of a collective approach. We need to kind of link up with everybody, with the MP, the opposition leader, the churches, the community leaders, the farmers. We need to solve our problem. We need to kind of believe that we have the capability of solving our own problems. We need to do that.
And farmers have to start to discuss the issue among themselves.
Yes.
They have to start to stop waiting for help. Mm-hmm. Not even from the GDB Bank.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because the financial institutions have found you unattractive.
Yeah.
The hotels believe that they can obtain the products 40% cheaper from outside because of economy of scale. All the pamper.
No, Mr. Pierre, because of policies, not economy of scale.
But that is the argument they have advanced.
Okay.
They have advanced that because you're small, you can produce.
Yeah.
Irrespective of all the financial assistance through our initiative have provided for them to build hotels.
Yeah. But
all the concessions you give them,
mm-hmm.
but they have no intention.
Yeah, size doesn't
of buying your products.
Yeah, size doesn't really matter greatly. When you look at productivity per acre, you have very small countries producing. I mean, Israel, their productivity per acre for such a small place, is incredible. It's not. It's phenomenal, to be quite honest. You look at financial investment, like places like Bermuda, places like Singapore, places like Malta. These are very, very small places, but they
Israel,
they
Japan.
Hub. Yeah.
So the size is not the issue.
No.
And we want our farmers to understand that. Irrespective of the fact that you would hear them advance the view of economy of scale.
Yeah.
And we regurgitate it.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Agriculture, ministers, technical people,
Yes.
the University of the West Indies regurgitate that.
Yeah.
This is not a fact.
Yeah, and you hit on a point that I locked horns with one a person a few years ago. That person was saying, and that was a prominent person in government, that our quality of product needs to improve. And I thought, I've never heard such nonsense in my life. I had just come back from Miami. I did a lot of tasting and testing of products in Miami, avocados and bananas, different things. And our products, believe it or not, especially our mangoes, are the best quality mangoes you can taste in the whole damn world. Our avocado is absolutely beautiful, but people have this misconceived idea that there's some issue with our quality of product.
Autoimmune disease. Agriculture autoimmune disease. We went on the world stage. We have the best honey. We went in England and winning the flower show.
Yeah.
Look at our orchids,
Yeah.
our cocoa, our nutmeg,
Yes.
our honey.
Oh.
Yet we believe
Yeah, we don't have quality.
don't have quality.
Now, what they confuse this with, I'll tell you what the problem is. What we need to work on. We need to work on our packaging. Our packaging could be a lot nicer. Nobody package goods as well as the Americans. They might have...
because the goods are good. Poor quality goods in good package.
But the packaging, oh my God.
But
and the British as well. The British could package.
But the issue is, why do we believe
Yeah.
that we don't have good quality?
It's a term I used before, and it's what they call internalized racism. So the dominant culture will make you believe that you're no good, you're inferior, and all the rest of it. And after a while, you yourself believe that. And they've made us believe that our product is inferior to their product, when in truth and in fact our product is far superior. Even our water, we win international awards for our water. Our products is superior, but we need some technical help, whether it's from Trinidad.
We have the Ministry of Agriculture.
Yeah,
we have one amount of brain.
Yeah, we have a lot of brain in the ministry, no doubt about that. But the ministry is not focused on entrepreneurial pursuits and kind of outcomes, and the ministry keep us going.
Maybe that is why we're asking investment with micro farmers.
Yes.
The farmers have to come to the reality that they are left alone. Help is not coming.
Yeah.
And farmers have to determine, how do we raise funds to invest in our farms?
Yeah.
What amount of funds we need?
Yeah.
What crops that will give us the maximum income in the shortest space of time? So take, for instance, you want to grow carrot. You don't know nothing about carrot. You have a child in secondary school that don't like agriculture, but the child like the food. Do we have enough knowledge to ask the child to research how they grow carrot? Because the child good on the computer. So you might see the child always with the phone, and now you can't hear what they're listening to. But maybe we have to see that we are our own resource persons.
Yeah, critical important. We are, the solution, and we have to believe that. I mean, everything and every advancement that has been made in this world has first been thought of by a person, and that person do not have to come from Europe or the US.
Intelligence or anything like that.
Yeah, no, right here, we have to be willing to solve our problems. How
do you see the children in school helping their family members or parents? And I say that against the background that Grenada have perhaps the most landowners in the region.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
how does our bright children in school help the farmer to improve the farmer's crop? Is that a vibes? Is that a feeling? Is that a thought? Is that an idea? Is that a discussion that takes place in Grenada or in the school system?
I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking quite often, you can change behavior with some sort of reward system. I mean, clearly there is scope in terms of the young people coming up for research and development on agriculture. Every damn thing you want to know is on the net these days. You can be at
But does the farmer knows that? Does the child in school feel that vibes? I am going to school. My parents don't know much about the internet, but my parents is giving me money to spend the time on the internet. So maybe I could take some interest and research.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, and as you talk, I'm thinking, well, say the parent normally gets like, you use carrot, $10,000 a year from carrot, and the daughter can kind of research and add something, and by her input, that family now can make 20,000 from the carrot. Maybe we can encourage parents to say, well, you get 10% of the profit.
Well, once the parents see all the money, because even when the parents was getting 10,000, the child don't pay rent, they have food, they have brand name boots, and they have a bad phone.
Yeah, no, that's the price you pay for being a parent and having the joy and the fun of making them.
Beautiful.
So put that away.
Right. So a smart child would understand. If when parents had 10,000, I had all that. When my parents making 20,000, sometimes I get more.
No,
But
they must be included in the system whereby they will get more, whether it's a 5%. So what you want to do, you want to incentivize them so that they themselves, without you telling them, will be doing, and they'll be going for 30,000, 40,000.
you don't believe that if the schoolhouse that I have discussed with one or two of my children, younger ones, I tell them don't waste time with agriculture in school too, I say don't waste time. There's a lot of waste time. Now, in the school, that idea should be pumping in the children's brain. How could you improve the productivity, the amount of money mommy make from 2 acres of land? How could you use the skill, the technology, the information you have? Because I look at my father's practice is kind of rudimentary based upon what I see on the net. So I could encourage this technique. Even if I run a pilot project near the land to make him see. Because some parents had like Google Ame. They don't change it easy.
Yeah.
So you, the child in school, don't believe you could just come and tell parents do that. But on a small portion of land, you could grow carrot bigger and greater productivity. And the parents see that. This idea is supposed to be going on in the school.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can't say anything more. But whilst you are talking, I recently had access to some land just underneath SAS, and I was thinking one of the things that that land could be used for is a city farm, and the model, those kids who are working on the farm, they will also get an income based on from the profit of the farm. And hopefully they can take that away to their families and we can get some momentum going.
I believe in shock therapy. A family decide to invest in their little piece of land, and when they make money, other people see they will make money.
Yeah, well, that is not shock. That is motivation and inspirational.
Well, I don't know what motivation we could give our kids because Grenada have the most land owners in the country.
Yes.
Our productivity and our production is one thing.
I
We
think
could do better.
Yeah, but I think you're right in terms of your call. I could feel it. That we need to find some solution. But also, I remember listening again to the politicians and talking about tourism and the boatyard, and there's hardly any Grenadians in the providing the services for the yachties. And I thought that
A lot
was
of Grenadian Freddy actually can swim. So since you say yacht, some of them turn their head.
yeah.
You can swim.
But he was talking about the boatyard, not the sea.
But since you say boat and yard, some people believe they go drunk. They're not going wrong. I've spoken to a number of individuals because the sea is 76%. The water.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sea, the water is 76% of the world.
Yeah.
So the majority of jobs should be in the water.
Yes.
If you take
we
it
should be
just
living on water.
literally, marine biology, fish,
Yeah. We should be
etc.,
living on
etc.
water.
But
Yeah.
80% of you people can't swim.
Yeah, but the point was made that we need to kind of look at that whole industry better and get involved in it, and hopefully, there's some policymakers looking at that. But
You still have hope in these policymakers.
man, I live in hope, not marquee. They always.
Sometimes you end up in appeal.
Yeah, well, that's what they used to say. The unions used to say, "We living in hope while the prime minister living in Happy Hill." That one was a good one. Yeah. No, but we need to turn attention to agriculture. And where is the agricultural champion? Where Toes is the new minister, isn't he, for agriculture? What was his view on the 6% contraction?
Silence.
What was his view?
Say we have money.
What was his view in terms of turning this around? I know there's a sector that's about to turn around that will open big time and give a lot of the smaller poultry farmers an opportunity to grow and develop. And if the model works well, and I think it will work well, as the major farms get going, what they will do is they will...
Satellite farms.
Yeah, they will do the satellite.
But Jamaica have some of the Jamaica boilers.
Yeah, Jamaica works well. I mean, it's a model they're very proud of. I mean,
so they're not reinventing the wheel.
No. We're doing something that already works and works well. Barbados is doing it as well. So, but these farms, we're waiting on the regulations. I haven't heard anything for a while in terms
Still
of...
waiting on regulation again.
Yeah, but the regulations, there's been so much consultation in terms of poultry. I'm frightened to go to anymore.
I think too much consultation.
Yeah, but I know. Let me be frank. I know I had a word with the PS in agriculture, and he did say to me they're working on it. So
remember the number to call is 410-3030. We have 5 minutes more in the program, and we would still entertain your call. And Joshua, we have 5 minutes more.
Yeah.
And we have autoimmune disease
in
agriculture.
We do, and we need to get some radical surgery very quickly to stop it. We can't be fighting against ourselves. I mean, we talk about all these things, and I read the Frock report, that was done so well written, and it made some recommendation, again talking about linking agriculture to tourism. But where is the infrastructure to link it? Who's heading it? Who's the champion? Because that is such a big area that can really propel and create and invest in our GDP. But where is the infrastructure? Where is the call?
Nice paper for artists.
Yeah, it was well written. I would have been proud if I was part of the team and wrote that paper.
I think that is all it is. A good paper, a good technical paper, a good written paper for a thesis. But in reality, we have to ask the question. We farmers have to recognize that help is not on the way. help is not on the way. The financial institutions that started many years ago with the intention of helping you have walked away. The Penny Bank, Cooperative Bank, and GDB Bank have walked away. And the time has come for all farmers, family members who have land, to sit down. Believe you have the resource personnel. You have your children and you have a phone. That is enough. And I believe you have the money too. You have the money to start. You see, when you go in the ordinary home and you see the amount of gadgets, the television, the big fridge, and in some people that have more discretionary income, 2 vehicles. I'm not saying you should not have all that, but perhaps we should determine which one we improve first. Do we invest in the land first and then go and buy the car? Or do we buy the car first and hope and pray that we get a miracle and win the lotto?
Well, business is simply, and we're in a prime position to get out of this kind of autoimmune disease.
We're in a prime position to also end the program. We hope Joshua will be back with us next week, again Saturday, when we continue to speak about agriculture and provoke discussion. We want the ordinary man on the ground to start to talk, and perhaps agriculture, autoimmune disease. This is one of the things we believe that have invaded us. Thank you very much for the program. We're back with you again on Studio Galaxy 473 in Confer, and we are the Galaxy Equalizers. And on this second part, we speak about the quality of representation in our small democratic environment. We're going to speak about the quality of representation because we believe that is critical. Yes, we believe that is critical. The quality of representation that we have in our small democratic environment. Yes. We take a small break because our guest has just arrived, so we take a small break and we come inside. Yes, we're back with you on Studio Galaxy, and we are with the Equalizers. We have Kennedy Budlal, KB, and Master Carl today with us. We had a little late start, that's why we take the break. But the brothers are here, the Galaxy Equalizers. And the topic we're speaking on is the quality of representation in our small democratic environment. Whether it is throughout the Caribbean, we are democracies. We must not be afraid to speak about democracy. We must not be afraid. And we must not be afraid to speak about the quality of representation. Because for us to have a strong democratic system, we must have good representation. It can't come overnight. And you have to remember, we have to remember, post-1983, the democratic system in Grenada is alive and well. Everybody who win election, they win fair and square. We may have issues with the politician, but I think one of the biggest challenge we have is the quality of our representation. And we have 2 individuals with us this morning, Master Carl, who have also wet his foot in the politics, and we have KB, who born in the politics. From day one, we are involved in the politics, not at the highest level, but we always on the ground talking politics, morning, noon, and night, and if we get a chance, even when we sleep in, we on in the political arena. So, Kevin, the quality of representation in our small democratic environment.
Mr. Pierre, thank you for having me. And this is very challenging. You could say what you want. Because our system, because we don't have a strong let's say, business, sector. People depend on the government to provide them with almost everything. And it is very challenging for representative. But when you're representing people, you always have to seek their interests and not your personal interests. And it is very challenging for a representative in different political parties, because you always have to be in touch with people and always whet their appetite. Mr. Francis Pierre,
as I agree with you, the business sector in Grenada is small.
It's small.
Government is the biggest employer. And the church is impactful.
Exactly. So people depend on the government. Yeah. Now, as a representative, you always have to be mindful. Is the people vote you there, and the people have to keep you in power. And you have to balance that with what you could afford and what the government give you to give the people. Because politician is human being like you and I, Mr. Pierre. People having a christening, they come into the politician. The parents die, they come into the politician. They marrying, they getting married, they come into the politician. The politician, little pay, really cannot take them home. So they're in a bind. They're in a bind because of how the society construct. You understand? Now, you have to love people to stay in this thing. And you have to understand the politics to stay in this thing. You have to always be in touch with people and cultivate relations with people and share their feeling. You have to be one that have a lot of empathy to stay in this thing. It's very challenging. And this topic, Mr. Pierre, is not an easy one. It's very challenging for politicians in small democracy. Because, as you say, most people hold you at ransom. They ask for too much. And you have too little to share. The little economic cake, you have to divide it among everybody equally. But you have to also look for the people who support you. And you have to always appear to be fair. And if you give your neighbor who oppose you too much, and those who support you, give them very little, you're in a bind, you're in trouble. And if you give only your supporters, and you don't give the opposition, you're in trouble. You always have to be fair to strike a balance in not an easy thing in this democracy. It's very challenging for politicians in this small democracy. As how someone make it, I don't know. Most politicians come out poor. After they leave politics, Mr. Pierre, most of them not necessarily, only those who have a career. Your law practice, you go back to your law practice. You're economist, you get a job. But after that, you're not marketable. Politician is not marketable after they leave politics. Most of them end up in poverty because there is no big money in politics like the United States of America. No big set of lobbying to say, well, I lobby for arms to Ukraine and then I will get that 20, 30 million in my bank account. Yeah, that yeah. The economy too small.
But KB, you live in a community where when people have their body, they come and ask you to.
What you mean they come and ask
and when somebody dead, you have to bring a bottle around?
But you too, Mr. Pierre.
Are the small businessman in the community?
Yeah, how much time I come by you, Mr. Pierre, and beg you for a box of chicken because somebody have barbecue there, and sometimes they forget to call your name and say, Mr. Pierre, donate a box of chicken.
But they wouldn't bother with that.
How much time I come and ask you for a case of water for carnival?
So the politicians, the quality of our representative and the quality of our representation is a critical and important part in the democratic process, Master Carl.
I agree. Now, just to speak my view on it, the quality of representation let me give you, before I say that, let me give you in a lot of Caribbean countries, the politicians of the day, the government, usually refer to the persons they help most are the ones who come back and challenge them the most. That happened with the boards and them in Antigua. That happened in Trinidad, Barbados, to a certain extent. So politicians have a way when they want to when they feel they represent, they don't want to give people too much, but to keep them in the same way, like you say, for everything they want to come and ask them to feel important. I believe true representation is how you build the capacity of the people. Because for too long, as you and KB just say, if a politician only relies on what he gets from the government, he ended up in politics as a pauper. Because the amount of people that would bombard you on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, Mr. Pierce, and they don't have any event, just by John comes out down the road and he called by Mr. Pierre, he's a politician, and he tells Peter by Mr. Pierre just buy a gas for me. Peter coming by Mr. Pierre for a gas too, whether he need the gas or not. He have sometimes you, as a representative, you have to sit the people down and have a conversation with them. Sometimes they come and ask you for $100 KB, and it's 25 they really need. But because he fear that if you don't give, they won't vote for you. You giving them 100, not knowing. But I believe the level of representation had to reach a stage where you empower people to be better persons, Mr. P. So the dependent syndrome, in my view, would not continue. Like I always say, if at this stage, Mr. P, I calculate and get into any frontline politics, my type of representation would be to empower people to build the capacity. And in general conversations I just have with you and KB, my thing is about getting people empowered. Because at the end of the day, not everybody likes or feel comfortable to always come to you to ask you for something. And most times we believe you solving the people is like they always have to come to you and ask you for something. That is why most times persons say, government don't do nothing for me. But sometimes government creating the enabling atmosphere for them to get into some entrepreneurship or some business. But I think politicians or representatives are to think about how you make people be more independent.
How do you represent these people? Because that is the key.
Yes.
We talk about the physical, the tangible,
Yes.
giving some people some assistance.
Yes.
And whether it's the businessman or KB or me or the popular man in the community or the Calypsonian that sing a two song or the farmer, they all get involved in the tangible, the physical, the drinks, the blogger, the fig, the rhythm. Bringing somebody in Princess Alice Hospital in the night. So knock at your door, you can't refuse. But the quality of representation, how do we identify individuals in the community that could able to represent our individuals?
They have to like people.
And just because of that, Mr. P, you find government might do something worthy in a particular area, and you hear persons in the same area say government has not done nothing for me. How do we educate? How do we get people on that level to understand it's not only the tangibles? And that is the acid test, I think. One thing I heard a lot of, I can't testify to know, in the revolution you used to have what you call political education, to educate the public why that is being done, or how the public, or what is the expectations. You see, politicians tend to do a lot of things what they believe the people need without finding out what is the expectations of the people. So different villages or different areas might have different expectations, Mr. Pierre. So if you do like okay, like this government just going around now because we're using a practical example and just do a lot of basketball courts and so on. Is that the expectation of every village or every community?
Well, the number to call is 410-3030. And this is a topic that we intend to spend some time on, not only today, to discuss the quality of representation. How do we select people to represent in politics? Because we want representation. A lot of time we look at the tangibles, and some people good at that because they may have discretionary income or contacts, but then they can represent us. The number to call is 410-3030. Representation.
I believe representation of the people ought to come from the people, Mr. P. Too often, political parties makes decision from on high. Okay, like election.
Winnability.
Yeah. And they say this person could win. And this person, case in point, the president, prime minister, and this person has deep pockets. And this person has connection. But sometimes the connection this person has nothing to do with who they represent. So even if they win, there is a disconnect with who they represent. And if you have a disconnect with who you represent, it is impossible to properly represent these people. It comes back down again to Mr. Pierre. What is the expectations of the people you intend to represent? Because if you don't have a clue as to the expectations of the people you represent, you might do a lot of things, spend a lot of money, and then when next time election comes, this same people say, this man don't do nothing for me.
I agree. You see, Master Carl, I like your idea. That new dimension in politics, like you educate people to be self-employed, you understand, instead of waiting on the government for handout. I agree, you understand, but you must have people to come out with good policies that will attract, investors and so on. You have to have the right atmosphere in this country, you understand, to attract foreign investors. So you have this trickle-down kind of economics. And you also must have a financial institution that will be willing and very sensitive to the plight of the ordinary man. So it will be easy for them to get loan to start up their own business. It doesn't make sense. You having $20-30 million in the GDP, and the ordinary man cannot access that loan. You have to have connection. You have to have political connection. They're asking you for deed, land, title, and where ordinary man getting that if you want to lift himself? The government must be the facilitator.
But you parliamentary, remember, in a constituency, who choose, who selected, what is the quality of the representative for that political party? Because a lot of issues, if the representative is not representing, the representation is so poor that people start to believe they have to get something for them physically. But how does the quality of the representation, that person that is the parliamentary representative, we have a caller on the line? We have to take that call.
Good morning, caller. Hello?
You get it?
Hello?
It seems to be challenging taking the caller's call.
What is the number again, Mr. Pierre, to call?
410-3030.
Call on WhatsApp.
You hearing the call? Put it in there. You hearing the caller? You're not hearing the caller. Sorry, we seem to have, while we try to fix that, very sorry.
A particular,
Yeah.
That's right. Go ahead.
Case in point.
You hearing the caller? Yeah, well, you're not hearing the caller.
Case in point, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah.
A representative is expected to represent all of the constituency and not some. And some persons might simply request just to see the representative
Yeah,
TV.
extremely low.
We hear any caller now?
Hello?
Hello?
It's extremely
Hello?
low.
Hello,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, we're
yeah.
hearing you. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, good morning again and to your listeners as well.
Morning, bro.
I actually had a discussion early this morning concerning that very same topic that you guys discussing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing about representation and how a party should pick a candidate to represent the constituency. And the way I see things now is different from before, where the leader or whoever advising him would pick somebody that's sort of popular in whatever field they are. And everybody say, okay, he's a popular person, she's a popular person, they play this, they do that. And when actually the person gets elected and have to do the job because they're not qualified enough or doesn't know the know-how to do the thing, they end up making mess, they end up doing nothing at all or something like that. Well, I think the time has changed whereby, people have more political sense, they're more politically savvy. And I think definitely the people has a 100% choice in who they decide to make represent them. Because the world has become very competitive. And if you break it down into different lower bracket, you come down lower in the trenches, you realize his competition. Even ministers compete to get the little scraps of finance out there to do things in the constituency. And you need people that have ideas and know how to put things, know how to bring people together and all this kind of thing. And that is the hallmark and qualification of a good representative. So I think the people should scrutinize, as I say, wash up the person and decide who they want. Gone are the days when the political leader or somebody just telling you, okay, I'm sending that person for you. The days for that finish. So that's my contribution.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you for
That to a certain extent, the decision to put people on you because of winnability
and that
has always been a factor. And sometimes the constituency embrace that person because of winnability. They may not have any experience with that person representing them in the constituency. So take, for instance, a man might be a doctor. They say, well, he's a doctor, and he's Kevy's son, and Kevy was a good man.
Yes.
And he's Kevy. But so when that individual come, you have to tell people who was the grandmother and great-grandmother.
They don't know him.
They don't know him, but at the point in time, particularly if election is close, is a question of winnability more than ability to represent. And Kevy?
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, for instance, you may elect somebody and you cannot send them aboard to represent you. You could only represent the constituency. They can't function in parliament. They cannot function in the ministry, but they could win the seat.
They could win the seat.
And you want to win, you go for that person. And you cannot send that person abroad to represent you in international forum. They'll embarrass you.
And that's why the system go and make senators. So you put senators to manage ministry.
Exactly. And again, I might be controversial, but
But that's a good opportunity for us.
I like Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell's idea to pay people well. Give your minister $15,000. Give your opposition $5,000. So you cannot give an opposition person $1,200 for representing people in parliament. That's a disgrace. That's an embarrassment. And support Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell 100%. Pay them well. Make sure they perform well.
That's the issue. Because well is relative.
Exactly.
One of the things you have to take into consideration, well is relative. Yes. So even you pay the individual well. How do you select? How do you deal with representation after you pay the individual well?
Mr. Pierre, here comes a point. Now, paying well is a very good thing. However, if the person is not comfortable representing people, like KB, you always hear, even in our travels, people telling you they don't see that person, and they don't see that person, and that person doesn't come around. Sometimes not that person don't come around, sometimes the person not comfortable in coming around because the only time they know to come around when election near. And then when election done, they're not comfortable, you're taking them out of the comfort zone. So a lot of representatives is being taken out of the comfort zone, and you're hearing stories like somebody go to the representative home early morning and the representative tell him, why you come by me early so far? Or where you get my number to call me this time? Because they're not comfortable in that settings.
Mr. Pierre, you think Mr. Pierre uncomfortable in any environment? Mr. Pierre, I watch Mr. Pierre in rum shop. I watch him in disco. I watch him, even in trade union, debating with people at all levels.
I watch him in carnival.
But you're comfortable at all levels.
Yes, because that is where I believe that sometimes in the constituency, you have people canvassing, agitating, involved in the community. But sometimes when the political party wants somebody, they look at winnability. Because the person that might be doing that may not like to go in politics. So here come the winnability factor, which seems to suppress the quality of the representation of our people.
But Mr. Pierre, look at it in practical. Check politicians, the successful ones in Grenada. All are comfortable being around people.
Yeah.
Everyone you call.
Uncle Gary.
Maurice Bishop, Keith Mitchell, everybody.
They're very
comfortable.
Yeah.
Those who may be bright, as you say.
Yeah, there are plenty certificates.
But they're not comfortable with people. You could see it even by their way they can adapt to certain things. So you find persons don't really gravitate towards them. But I still believe in representing people in politics, you must be of the grassroots level. Because you have to understand the plight of people.
Well, the majority of
so
people
you might go to
from grassroots level.
But you might go to a man and then you tell him by 2 days now how to eat. And you have some persons who represent him don't understand. They're asking you how that could happen. But it's something you have to know to represent people, Mr. P.
And if you're in the constituency, you automatically know the circumstances.
Yes, you ought to know. Yeah. And that is an important point, Mr. P. You ought to know your constituency.
You know your constituency.
When somebody come to you and tell you about KB, you're supposed to have an idea.
Automatically, no? And you pick up your telephone and call somebody in the polling division
in the immediate
who
vicinity.
Know almost everybody in that polling division.
Yeah, I think you have to appear to like people.
Another thing
Yeah.
I like about, and I believe about representation, and I think he had it in the revolution to a certain extent. You must have in your arsenal as a representative a grievance person.
Uncle Gary.
You must have that.
Had that.
Uncle Gary had a grievance.
James McDonald?
Grievance officer.
You must
and
have,
James McDonald was done.
as a real representative, you must have that.
I think Sheila George was a grievance officer.
You must have grievance officers.
What's important about the grievance officer? He has something the representative just would not understand or cannot understand. The grievance officer will understand and take it at the higher level. You understand? And they will address it. No, we used to kick on James McDonald, but he was just a good...
He's a master.
Master.
In every field.
Debating and defending his position.
And information.
Not even that. And he was forceful.
Yeah.
In his deliberation.
And authority.
Me and Cardwell telling him to gang him in Grenville, but we can't trap him at all.
Yeah.
He's too bright and intelligent and forceful. He was a good grievance officer.
Yeah.
And every let's say parish should have a
But
grievance
should a
officer.
judge was good too.
Another thing again, Mr.
Yeah.
Pierre, as a representative, it is always a good thing, in my view, when people come and complain to you.
Yes.
Because two things they believe you could help them.
They believe you could help.
If they don't believe you could help them, they don't come
They
in.
come.
So if a representative do have persons coming and complain to you, they don't believe in that person.
They're in trouble. That is why the likability factor is important in politics. People must like you, and you must like people. I believe international contact is also important. You know, I wouldn't rule out profound intellectual depth. I wouldn't rule out that because you need
That's
bright,
right.
intelligent people. But you don't pick a man only based on his intellect. Based on intellect, you pick him based on that, and he cannot connect. That is the danger of this thing.
And
you
you know
must
the-
strike that balance.
People have rewarded the individuals with a success story of winning election who have been part of them, who they feel is my brother. I could go to him, he go help me.
It's important.
And a lot of time, sometimes it's not only the physical, but the advice you give that person. You say, watch, you have to start to turn your hand, you know.
Yes.
You have to behave yourself.
Yes.
You need to get another job.
Yeah.
You have a family. You have to have respect for your family. You know. Your children getting big.
You're right.
So it's
It's the
not
advice.
only
The physical.
tangible,
The advice.
the beer and the rum and the coke, but the kind of advice that these representatives could give
you
the
have
people.
some representatives, like same thing you just mentioned, based on person's behavior, and they go tell you, watch, you see, because of that man, I have to change my ways.
Yeah.
Because of the connection.
Yeah.
Same thing you see. It's like, you see, I don't want to make that man shame.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to have that ability as a representative
Yeah.
to cause persons to respect. Because you see, one of the things that happening in the society today, Mr. Pierre, is the lack of respect. And the fact that the present administration allowed disrespect, and in my view, sometimes condone it. If you take us back to the time of the pandemic and the carnival, there are certain things they condone which they should stay clear
It
of.
backfire, you know.
And now it happening. They cannot speak to it.
Yeah.
Because if they speak to it, men saying, why you playing now?
You did that.
So as a representative, you have to be aware of all of those things. In my view, because as I say, you're the only representative who you feel voting for you.
You represent, but the people who don't vote for you, you want them to vote for you next time. If you represent a constituency and you got 51% of the vote, next time you want to increase the amount of people that vote for you. So the people who do not vote for you this time, you want to perform in such a manner that you want them to vote for you next time.
Agree.
So you're going to increase and Kit Mitchell and again Eric Gary has done that successfully, repeatedly. In Kit constituency, perhaps he did the best among the representative. And even the representative life, even the life you live. People say, you remember, I think it was Marcel Peters that he thief coconut. And he angry. He say he calling the police, the wife say, Marcel, you forget his apology? 2 coconuts, he say, what's wrong with you? Man, forget that.
That is lost.
2 coconuts, you can bring them for 2 coconuts in your constituency. Marcel say, well, it's not 2 coconuts every time. The wife say, forget that. So even his wife
Yeah.
understood
Yeah.
that yes, you might seek justice, but for 2 coconuts, you're a politician. You know?
That is simply, Mr. Pierre, and it happens time and time again in election in Grenada. You hear somebody who lose say, all what I do for them, and they don't vote for me. But sometimes they don't have that personal contact.
With the people.
Because politics is about, as KB does always say,
They don't believe you genuine.
cultivating relationship.
You only give them because you was in politics, but you're not genuine. And they read through you.
It's like you have a home and you're giving everything. You're buying the groceries, you're paying the bill, you understand? You're maintaining the house, you're paying everything, and you don't giving the wife attention. You have a real problem.
Yes, yeah.
Real problem. You have to make them feel significant. It's like in politics.
You have to respect people.
Yeah, you could fix all the road in Parkland. And you don't pass in and tell people good morning.
You have to respect people.
The family sick, you don't visit the family. You know, you don't find out whether these children have food to go to school or clothes to go to school. You don't find out that. You're having a cricket match in Silver Ram, you don't even go in and...
You don't even go and watch cricket.
You don't go and watch cricket. You understand?
Yeah.
But you're fixing road.
Yeah.
You understand? At the end of the day, people watching all that and pass sentence on you.
Yeah. In yesteryear, in some communities, people didn't want government buried a pauper if you're from the community. So if somebody, you didn't have nobody and they die, they don't want government bury the body. They say, how you going to look for us for government to bury the body?
Like
and that is why
Yes.
the ministry come up with this view to help people to bury the dead, you know.
Yes.
I don't know how fight when it really started, if it was in Gary days or if it's after, during the revolution, it's after. I don't know exactly when it started. But they say you have to help people bury the dead. So I think the government put a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
So if you're in trouble
Yes.
to bury your dead, they're going to help you.
Help you.
We had another instance where a Grenadian, a young child went to Barbados and for treatment, but the child died in Barbados. But I don't know if based upon, and I'm not absolutely certain on that government is not responsible to bring back the body if the government send you away and you die. And the nurses decided, because of the individual they were working with, they're going to help to bring back the body. And that person was poor. Poor like a church mice. When that child buried, the villagers were shocked to see the amount of nurses and orderlies and other people from the health system that came up to the funeral. It's only then they knew that the nurses came and helped to bury the child.
That was great.
So this is, and all these in a small society.
Humanity always
People
will.
have to understand that. The
Humanity.
mother was poor as church mice. When I tell you poor as church mice. And she was not able to bring the body back from Barbados. And the nurses felt they never, no Grenadian that went to Barbados for treatment that died, they always bring them back. And they couldn't stand for the body to stay in Barbados. I mean, these
Show
things
bad
just
light
go
on the
on.
government.
They say, well, the nurses felt it show bad light on the hospital, etc. And they come up and put money together. You know, so the Ministry of Social Affairs in the country comes in and provides some money for you to bear.
So sometimes I blame the revolution for a lot of things. Before, someone die home, you get a doctor certified, cause the death, and you build a coffin and you bury the individual.
Yeah.
I remember somewhere in Moya, two brothers had a fight. One died, but it was so poor. So decided they're going to build the coffin to bury the individual. And when they go to the undertaker said, no. If I allow you all to build a coffin,
You're out of business.
I out of business. Everybody want to build a coffin. So he refused to bury the guy unless they get money and buy the coffin from him. So the coffin the family build, stay build the house and rot. You understand? So this is something we have to look at, and as you say, representative in small economy. These things that people have to look at. What is affordable by the young people, and what is tradition, and why you change it. Why the undertaker? You have to buy the coffin from the undertaker, even buy the clothes from the undertaker, transportation and everything.
And it's not necessary, you know.
Not necessary.
But sometimes people believe that is it. And that is where you want a representative that understand these things.
Well, Mr. Pierre, my great-grandmother died. I doubt we spend $15 or $20 to bury her. Because people bring board.
People used to come.
People bring the dye. They line the coffin with some white cloth. They had ice on my great-grandmother. They carry her, about 6 men carry her to the church and carry her to the cemetery. And my grandmother cooked some pea soup.
Pea soup.
Yes,
With some salvi.
Yes, and a little rum.
And that's very happy was.
That's
origin.
That is it. It don't cost them about $20
Yeah.
to bury my great grandmother. But no, you have to sell your cow.
Yes.
You have to sell your donkey. You have to sell your sheep. You have to mortgage your property.
I have
to bury her
heard
dead.
stories where family going ruin after the death.
Yes.
Because they thought the parents had money, well the parents didn't have nothing. And that is, all these things have to help our society to improve.
I agree. That's where you see that topic, representation, representative in small economy, is a challenging.
And the quality of your
and
representation.
quality. You want good quality. You want good quality, and you want people that could adequately represent people and who love people.
And the representative have to understand, my first and foremost responsibility is my constituency.
Yeah.
All aspects of the constituency. Even the prisoners, even those on drugs, even those in the mental institute is my responsibility.
Mr. Pierre, I hoped one day we're going to deal with that May Day celebration, and that kind of representation. It's the Themis celebration, and those ills in the society. It's just they fail to address it.
Yeah, poor
They leave it up to the politician, not only politician. You were in the trade union field.
Poor representation.
You see, you're doing as if the worker don't have no medical problem. You're doing as if the crime rate is not a business. You're doing as if the state of the economy is not your business. All your concern is your bread and butter.
No.
You get come on.
And where you get the bread and butter? You all this thing.
Is it Themis
Yeah.
may they have ever experienced?
The quality of our representation.
Quality of
Who
representation.
speak up for the individual? You have an individual who have been ill-treated. Who speak up for him? 2 individuals want to fight in the shop and people walking away. Say, no, you can't hit the man.
Of
Yeah.
course.
And people, who speak up for that?
You know, my call is 410-3030.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Pierre, I used to wonder, this topic is a really important, good one. It's an important topic, and it's very challenging for the representative in small economy. Very challenging. But you have to like people.
KB, we had a discussion one of the days, me and you spoke about Archibald
Yes.
and the level of representation Archibald is to present to people.
Yeah, Oliver Archibald was the best. He from the Gary stock, right? Happened to be a NNP representative. And Archibald he showed love for people. He was not good, bright in parliament. He couldn't give a adequate, account of himself in parliament. But on the ground, he showed empathy for people. He was the best in terms of organization, in terms of his political structure and his relationship with people in the community. He was the best.
Yes.
Love people.
I think more discussion. We must discuss this issue because we're getting some poor quality representative. When you hear a story like an individual have to get a sick leave, the doctor give him the paper, he pays NIS, but you have to have a cell phone to get his sick leave.
Yeah.
And when you hear a situation that an individual want to open an account in the bank or the credit union, and he have to have proof of his address, they say you have to pay a bill. Well, the man paying the bill in the house, but the house on the grandmother name, and the bill on the brother in American name. So the individual say, well, I can't open my account. And you find a number of men, number of women and men, cannot open an account in the credit union. And the parliamentary representative believe that is not their concern.
Not the concern.
You know? Our individual go to doctor and he say, I don't agree with the treatment they give me, but the parliamentary representative believe that is not my concern. Or you have a school in the village and you don't know when you hear something good from the school. That is not my concern.
I don't think some of the representatives even go to school.
Well, cricket, some villages can make a team to play cricket, but that is not my concern. Something have to be wrong with the quality of representation that we have.
And not even that, not even my youth group in your village.
Not even my youth group in your community.
Not a culture group.
Not a culture group.
And you say it's not your concern?
That is not your concern.
And you have young people as Imani all over the place. None of them was mandated to organize the young men on the block or the young ladies to involve in netball or football or anything. And how could that not be a concern?
So where are we going?
Case in point, Mr. Pierre. The recent crime situation in this country. As you say, the representative is responsible for their constituency. How many representatives here advising or admonishing people, young people in terms of crime?
And the gun
How much?
And the gun culture.
How much representative here having meetings or having discussions
on the block
with people about that? That it seems like that is not the issue.
Yeah, sometimes you see on social media, you see a man showing off with the nines or a Glock.
And then you can say, you cannot say it all happening in your constituency because it's happening in town.
Yeah.
Because, as the Prime Minister say, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. It's happening all about. But our community...
So representation is much more than giving somebody something, whether you call it handout or hand up. Representation is much more than that.
How you feel, Mr. Pierre, as Parklet cricketers cannot go in Mountain to play cricket? This thing happening nowadays at all? How you feel about that?
Well, the situation between these two communities, it says, I remember Tiger T sing a song, What Kind of Love Is This? You see, because we're making love, now we're fighting in the morning, we're breaking up. Because over perhaps 30 persons have left this community. Over 30 young men have left this community. And some of the contributing factors is because of violence. The parents believe it's better to send them away. They're in England, they're in America, they're in Trinidad, and some going to St. George's.
So
because of the conflicts between the two communities. And it doesn't seem that is the business of the representatives in the community. So we have to go back and perhaps discuss the quality of representation. Because it's not to say we have not had people that did a good job in representing people. Yeah. And again, we point out Oliver Archibald, we point out Eric Geary, we point out Kit Mitchell. In other communities, there would have been some. But it seems as though the quality of representation seems to be deteriorating. And it can't be, because as a parliamentary representative, you go in politics, and you claim the reason you go in politics is to help the community. You didn't say you go in politics to make money. We understand that you shouldn't die in poverty. But you didn't say that. And if you're a businessman, even if you're in politics, your management system supposed to be good so your business don't fail.
Yeah.
Because if your business fails, something wrong with your management, or the economy of the country is in disaster. And if you can manage yourself You can't help yourself. How are you going to help people?
You know, my problem is that most of the leaders, leave the politician out, but you have community leaders.
Community leaders,
And
church leaders.
And church leaders. Most of them, let's say, burglar proof themselves in the house and abandon the community. Don't realize their children, their kids will be at risk. If you abandon the community to, let's say, thieves and criminals, they are in charge of the community. The men on the block in charge of the community. Soon, your kids will be at risk. And that is what happened over the years. Most of the leaders became so selfish. They burglar-proof themselves in their home and abandon the community. Don't care if a cricket ball in the community. Don't care if children go to school in the community.
They don't care.
They don't care if a man pull out the pistol and start firing wild like the Wild West in the community. They don't care.
They don't care
But
anything.
one day I was warning my Livingston Nelson about that. I said, Livingston, look at Tivoli. All of us become selfish. We start minding our own business, looking the other way. Very soon, they might turn on with children.
Of course.
Then Livingston leave up with one speed. Next thing, his wife call him home. Somebody in his house. We was talking about it in the junction. And he moved out with one speed. A thief in his house. And Livingston beat that thief so bad he almost get charged. Man climb in the window, go inside the house to attack his family, to steal what in the house. When you as a leader abandon your community to the mercy of thieves and criminals, he have a way of coming back to you.
He come back and hunt you.
Come back and hunt you. They attack your children.
Mr. Pierre, as a representative,
And we're running out of time. We have 5 minutes more, so we punch you.
I believe you ought to engage the same thing KB talking about groups. Or, as a representative, we cannot allow the quote-unquote bad persons to be the one who champions the village.
Leadership in it.
We cannot allow them to have that leadership role. We have to find ways of getting it, because when you offer yourself as to represent, anything ought not to be too difficult. You have to try.
You have to try.
Until you don't try, you can say you don't think in. And as a representative, your skin has to be thick. You can be like a seal and mouth.
Well, if you skin,
you can
worry. Go and hide inside your house.
You can worry everything somebody go see about you and want to react.
You become vengeful.
Territory.
You will become vengeful if that is. Could you imagine you living in your gated community and you and your big friends flow up, eating your barbecue and your chicken that fat people just line up for, and the other people in the village smelling it? Is your chicken, is your money? But the neighbors watching, you see them and their big friends.
Yes.
All of a sudden, this thing turned to hate because they want a piece of chicken to eat too. But as we come down to it, the quality of our representative in the community, and we could look at political representation, but as KB, as you rightly say, all the leadership, all the leaders, the businessmen, the civic leaders, the people who are successful in our community, and maybe we have to continue on the quality of representation we have.
Yeah.
Because this is a topic that we could take at any length. And we want to thank our technical operators, Devontae and Nia, for assisting us this morning on the program. And we want to thank Kiwi for coming in, and Massacre. You know, we are the equalizers.
Yeah. Yes.
And we continue to speak on any topic, provoke any topic, be controversial too, and basically to stop and encourage discussion.
Okay, thank you.
You have the last word, KB and Massacre.
Yes, I want to thank you for having us, and the topic is very, 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 very important. And because representation is important, you need to tolerate even the people who oppose you. Once you could tolerate your political opponent, I think we're on the right track.
Massacre.
But it's simply, there's an old adage, Mr. Pierre, it takes a village to grow a child. It takes a village to represent a village. So representation is not, as you say, winnability only. They say the proof of the pudding is in the eating, Mr. Pierre. And you will be judged only on how you perform. Thanks for having me here again, Senior.
Yes, thank you very much, and we want to encourage you to share our program, subscribe to it, and help us to grow. Thank you very much.